Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there is doing great. Are you afraid of being hurt again? Are you? This is probably something that plagues more people than they realize. Certainly if you've been through a relationship and broken up and have gone back to another one, or even are on the precipice or the beginnings of a new relationship, this in many, many people's minds invariably creeps in. And it's one thing to be cautious in life, right? When I go to cross the street, I want to look both ways before I step out. That's being cautious, and that's the right kind of cautious. Cautious around the aspects of the dangers of the world, if you will. But there are places where caution actually will hold you back from your dreams. Relationships are a great example. Work. A lot of people know when you're an entrepreneur or when you're trying to get into business, when you're trying to enhance your wealth to any sort of significant factor, you will almost have to take risks at some point. And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. That's kind of how risks play out, and you learn as you go through them. You learn things not to do, you learn things to do. Careers are the same way. Sometimes you've got to put your neck out a little further and try to do that thing that you aren't comfortable doing, but it's the only way to expand and grow yourself and thusly make more money as well, get into more prestigious or powerful positions, right? All those kinds of things happen through risk-taking. So when you're averse to risk-taking or risk-averse or don't want to take risks or you want to go the safe route, I don't want to rock the boat, I don't want to do anything that could get me in trouble, I don't want to make anyone mad at me. If you're going to go down that path in life, understand that there probably will be a number of things you won't experience that people who do take risks will experience. And I'm talking about the good stuff, the stuff that you're actually after. Because as it plays out, your failure rate, generally speaking, at first seems really high, but then after you figure it out, starts to become reasonably low. So yeah, at first, as we call it, a learning curve, right? You ramp up. I'm making mistakes every which way. But when you're paying attention, when you're learning from those mistakes, when you take away from them what they're intended to show, well, life starts to improve and get significantly easier. So in regards to love, why do I bring all this craziness up? Well, because if any of us have had those situations in the past, if any of us are trying to get back with someone, this is probably on the back of your mind. If you're aware of it, awesome. Fantastic. You've been listening to my other shows, or you've just come into this like already kind of self-aware, which I love. And if you don't know this, I want you to spend a little time thinking about it. I don't want you to spend too much time thinking about it because focus-based universe, right? I'm not asking you to focus on something negative, but if you've noticed you've had challenges, if you notice that you keep getting close and then dip down, I mean, I've done other videos on it. There's a number of things that work, and I've constantly talked about how something is going to rear its head. Maybe it's not as obvious. But what happens when we're fearful of getting hurt again or making a mistake again is it holds us back first. First and foremost, it tends to get those of us that are having these moments like, oh, I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to do that again. Then when you do that, you don't do anything. You'll have an option in front of you. You won't do it. You'll have an inspired action. You won't do it. You won't do it. No. No. And that is how it'll play out every time. No. I don't want to. It's scary. I shouldn't. There's something easy. I'll go over here. I can do this. Like, you'll have a zillion excuses. And it's really, the excuses is kind of how you'll see it too. You'll have reasons. It's not that you just willy-nilly say no, because that'd be obvious that there's a problem. No. We come up with ridiculous excuses. Excuses that oftentimes won't even hold water. It's like a strainer and you're dumping water in it and you're like, this should be holding water. I don't know why it's not. Those pesky holes shouldn't be stopping. Of course it's not holding water. It's a strainer. That's what it's for. It's supposed to flow right through. And like some of our excuses, they flow right through. So again, are we throwing some of that fearful action out there? Are we afraid to fail. Afraid to fail. Afraid to make a mistake. Afraid to do what we did in the past. Now, there's a few problems with being in this mindset. Obviously, what you fear, you draw near. It's a fun cliche, and it is true, I think, in just about every way, shape, and form. What you fear, you draw near. You bring it towards you. But why it works, why that fancy cliche stands on its own, is because what you focus on is what you attract more of. And if I'm scared of something, I'm focusing on the negative of what it is that I'd like to experience. So in the case of love, I'd like to experience love, maybe with my specific person, maybe getting back together, right? I'd like to experience love with them, but I'm afraid that I'm going to hurt them. I'm afraid I'm going to make a mistake again. I'm afraid I'm going to make them mad. I'm afraid they're going to run away from me again. I'm afraid of... It's that fear that is going to bring that opportunity to us again. We will create those opportunities. A very good friend of mine is going through something similar, kind of a bit of a cycle in their life, and they finally nailed it. But it's that same concept. It was that fear of the cycle that caused the cycle to continue. It was that I'm doing everything right. I'm doing self-love. I'm doing all this stuff. But I keep noticing that I'm getting all this chatter. I keep noticing that there's a lot of times where I'll see something and I jump to conclusions. There'll be a lot of times where I see them with a friend and I instantly assume it's way more than that. And through this fear I have, I actually end up manifesting that either in the other person, or I attract that kind of personality to me to begin with. And it could be who you're trying to get back with. Again, depends where you're at in this cycle. This could be the third person that you've done this with. But what we find when we fear something is, of course, we put that attention to it. And of course, what you fear, you draw near. And as I said also, you will avoid doing what needs to be done. You will avoid taking that step that you need to take. Your higher self is screaming at you, take it, take it, take it, take it. And you're like, no, it might hurt a little bit, right? Something is holding you back. You've got an excuse. No, I can do it later. No, I need to do that. No, I should do that. Any number of things. We're doing little subconscious psychological blocks to stop us. This isn't necessarily LOA, but it will stop your LOA. It comes back down into that belief thing, really. And people are like, well, I love myself. Do you? Because if you're afraid to make a mistake, you're not really loving yourself. Let me explain why. You might be saying to yourself, yeah, I am. That's self-preservation. Rule number 1, Dan. Have you never learned anything in biology or life or the way the ego works? Yes, of course I have. And you're right. You are trying to preserve yourself from hurt. But what you're also doing at the same time is preserving yourself from the thing that you want. When we take those steps back, when we attract the opposite, when we are fearful and afraid to take those chances, we don't allow ourselves to learn from what we've done in the past. We don't allow ourselves to take that mistake that we already had, that learning curve, and use it. Yeah, this might have been the 4th time you screwed up, right? Maybe there won't be a 5th. Maybe there will, but maybe there won't. Maybe you finally figured it out. Have you? I don't know. But when we allow ourselves to take what we've learned, to take the mistakes, it's like in business, right? I'm supposed to check the printer every day. We'll use a stupid example. Every day, that's my job. One of the things to put paper in it, invoices print out of it, super important. It's actually something I had to do at a job way back when. And it was only because no one else would do it. And if you forgot and then suddenly it came down, you're like, look at all these invoices that didn't get mailed. Oh, no. So again, right? That's my job. Go in every day and check the paper. Well, second day that responsibility's been placed on me, I forgot to do it. And the third day, I forgot to do it. Now my boss is like, seriously, this is 2 days in a row. Come on, man. Check the paper. That's what your job is. At that point, when I go to this work the next day, well, how it'll play out with a lot of us, right? I'll be nervous now. I'm worried. Oh, shoot. I hope I don't forget to change the paper tomorrow. God, I hope I will remember to change the paper tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to put the paper in there. Boom. Okay, it's my job. I'm going to do it. I'm I'm going to make sure I walk by the printer. Normally I go up the stairs the other way. I'm going to go that way. So I walk by the printer and then I'll go up those stairs. All right. Tomorrow comes. You walk right by. Right up the stairs. Hey, Dan, change the paper. Ah! Run down, change the paper. Do I just not show up to work the next day, or do I actually show up to work and take this and go, okay, I've got to figure out a way to force myself to remember things when I can't? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a sticky. I'm going to put a sticky on my desk, on my computer, so if I actually sit down, I know to run back downstairs and frickin' put paper in the thing. It's no big deal if I forgot for a second. As long as it gets done, I'm here, I need to do it. And if I'm really worried, I'll put a sticky in my car. All right, let's try to remind yourself that way. So at least when you're pulling into work, maybe I'll put it on my badge and set it on the dash. If you actually grab your badge to get in the building, well, there's your note. Put paper in there. You can't run away from what it is that you're trying to do. I got this new responsibility of putting paper in the printer. And I'm going to take that responsibility and I'm going to grow with it. Just like you're going to take that mistake you made in the relationship and grow with it. Or maybe the way we chose last time wasn't the best guy, but we've learned, and because of some of the other videos, certainly ones I've talked about, where you're trying to build that perfect person, right? Where you spend time working on them in your mind, and you know, I've learned this last guy didn't have time for me, wasn't emotionally available, wasn't whatever. That girl was didn't know how to cook, or didn't spend time with her family, or didn't have any sort of concept of love of family, right? She hated her family, and that just doesn't work. I love my family. I'm super close, and it was just like I didn't feel like she understood, right? Like, here's the better choice. And we allow ourselves to grow from that. We allow ourselves to move forward. We allow ourselves the freedom to make mistakes and then actually get to that thing that we've been trying to get to. Maybe it was a level or two. That's why we keep bumping off it. That's why we keep hitting it and coming back down. There's this thing holding us back. This fear of success. It's really not, though. It's fear of failure. But that fear of failure truly translates into a fear of success. Because on the path to success, to whatever it is that you're trying to manifest, you are bound to make some mistakes along the way. And if having an awesome relationship is part of your goal in life, and you're not currently good at it, you're going to get some practice. Some people just naturally attune to it, right? They meet that one person and they never leave them. They never really have fights. They just always get along. Awesome. That's great. Perfect match, perfect thing. But some of us are a little feistier than that, myself for sure included. And there are going to be moments where I'm having to compromise, having to look at it from someone else's vantage point, having to self-reflect and go, dude, are you being fair even right now? There's those times where we get to grow and evolve and become better people, better relationships, better at all this stuff. So through the path of a few mistakes here and there, maybe a bunch, you will become greater. You will grow to heights you never thought you could. That little tree, the acorn that was planted a year ago and that's barely shrubbed out, right? That little tree has no idea what it's going to become, but it's going to become a mighty, mighty oak, right? It's going to. So again, if we let ourselves grow, if we keep taking the nourishment of life and the mistakes we've made and realize that we have to allow ourselves to make mistakes, we have to allow ourselves to get back in the game. You can't sit on the sidelines and pretend you're in the game if you're not willing to sacrifice in the game. Yeah, you might get hurt again. You might. But you know what? You might actually succeed this time too. You might. And there's only one way to find out. And that is to hop into the game, risk a little pain. You've been through it before. Okay, if it happens again, get back, lick your wounds, figure out what the heck I did this time, and grow, evolve, learn. And if there's someone that you're trying to get back with, and every time you chat, you get feisty and angry, well, you've still got unresolved stuff. You're not ready to get back together. Law of attraction let you do it right now, or if you, higher self really, if yourself let it happen right now, you'd probably end up in a situation where you're right back where you started because you still haven't resolved the thing that's causing the flare-up. So that's a different story in my mind. If you've got unresolved stuff, yeah, resolve it. You need to. If you can't find it, don't see it, but for some reason, keep bouncing off the top. Are you afraid? Something to ask. Something to look deep into our soul. And it's something that afflicts most of us in some way, shape, or form. Maybe not in your specific person. Possibly. Likely. But maybe it's in your work. Maybe it's in your ability to pass some sort of exam that you know you need to pass and you keep putting off the date. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's I already failed it twice and I don't want to fail it a third time. Yeah, but if you're ever going to pass it, maybe you pass it on the third go. That's okay. You passed. Who gives a crap? No one needs to know you tried 26 times, all right? I wouldn't walk around and brag about that. Hey, I took that entrance exam 26 times. First 2 times I forgot to put my name on it. No, that's not what you want to do. So, again, get out there. Try. Make an effort. You'll be amazed at how far you will go when you let yourself. Hopefully this makes a difference for everybody out there. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Click the little face of myself. Get in there, little bell icon. I'll let you know when stuff happens. Thumbs up. Share videos. Comments, please. If you got show topics, throw them in the comments. It's always a lot of fun, and it lets other people see them. And then sometimes I can even tell by how many thumbs up there is on that show topic. Like, oh, wow, like a bunch of people actually are like vibing on that one. Let's do a show on that tomorrow, right? So, again, always a great place to put stuff like that in there. Looking forward to doing more shows. For those of you, this is a wonderful time of year here in the United States. Though we celebrate kind of a funky thing, but it has become a neat tradition. But Thanksgiving here is all about family and love and being thankful and grateful, which gratitude is a huge part of our whole law of attraction world. And I just want you all to know I'm grateful to all of you and very thankful for my family here on YouTube, and very much enjoy all you guys. And certainly all the places that I show my videos. There's a couple other sites. Shh. But anyways, just saying, Dan RadioStyle. Thanks.